The following program is paid for by Mariette F. Kammerer, who is solely responsible for its contents. This is LifeTalk, where we tell it like it is. LifeTalk is motivational, helping you get to the next level in life. LifeTalk is educational, to broaden your knowledge. LifeTalk is inspirational, to get you fine-tuned to start doing what you love doing. LifeTalk, sponsored by KmarEducation.org. And here is your host, Mariette Kammerer.
Well, hello and welcome to LifeTalk's special 2-hour event, The Boomers and Boomer Wannabes, What is Happening to the Golden Years, an insight to our independence, health, and finances. So brace yourself as to some of the facts that we're presenting tonight. We're going to cover this in the first hour, and here it is. Do you know you could be stripped of all your assets, decision-making, and kept away from your loved ones? What we need to do, we will find out from probate judge Kurt Alberg from Stratford, Connecticut, who will give the facts straight tonight. So I'm so happy I have the judge with us tonight. Anyway, tired of paying out more and more monies for your health services not covered by your insurance? Forget that. Our passionate Dr. Lee Forrest from Stratford, Connecticut has the solutions for that. And also generation to generation language, differences in young adults, concerns for others in civic orientation. Professor Christopher Hunter from Rice University, Houston, Texas, is going to join us around the half an hour, about 7:30. So that's the first hour. We're going for a break, and right after the break, 8:05, boomers transitioning into something new. Boomers reinvention, why the heck not? Transition coach Patricia Raskin will be with us tonight talking about entrepreneurship, new lifestyles, new careers. And also what is happening to us in the aging process. Aging specialist Warren Honeycutt, all coming up between 8 and 9. And if you want to look 30 years younger, you will have to listen to Warren Honeycutt. He's the man. So I have a good friend of mine, Jim Alfieri, here in the studio.
Good evening.
I'm looking, you know Jim for about a year and a half. He's been on air with us, and he brought his son, Ches, who's joining college. But you have a job tonight, Jim. You have an announcement to read.
I do.
And I know it's an important one. I know, things happen every day. Anyway, so...
Yes, Hillview Market, located 3751 Madison Avenue in Bridgeport, Connecticut, right on the corner of Capitol Avenue and Main Street. The best cold cuts and sandwiches. Your partner for all catering. The number 203-372-9443. Again, 203-372-9443.
They're a great delicatessen. They've been around for 32 years. So thank you very much. It's always good to know where to get good eats.
Absolutely.
So I don't have anything right now. I think we should go right ahead with the doctor. And let's go for a quick music break, and then we'll come back with our Dr. Lee Forrest.
Looking out on the morning rain, I used to feel so uninspired. And when I knew I had to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. Before the day I met you, life was so unkind. And you're the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel.
What is the wave of the future? Direct primary care with Fairfield Family Physicians, located in Stratford, Connecticut. A cost-saving direct primary care office, a healthcare model focused on putting the patient first. Here's Dr. Lee Forrest.
A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Lee Forrest. How are you tonight?
Excellent, Mariette. Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you. And what do you have? What's the news tonight?
Well, I'm here to educate everyone on direct primary care, a growing movement throughout the country where doctors have decided to cut the middlemen out of the picture and give their patients better care at a better price, saving people thousands of dollars on their health care. And what we do at our office in Stratford, Connecticut, is we have a small monthly fee for our patients at $59 a month. And in turn, what we give patients for that is all their visits at the office, physical exams, EKGs, blood tests are included. And when they need medications, we get them medications at discounted rates and try to save them money with that as well. And if they need any specialists, we know the specialists in town that can save them a tremendous amount of money as well. And all of that we do at our office. And to boot, we give people much more time with their visits. The average visit is 30 minutes at our office compared to the national average, which is 7 minutes. So the 7 minutes just isn't enough time to take quality care of patients. If you give one patient 10 minutes, I guess you have to give the next one 5 minutes, and there's no time at all to properly care for people.
Let me tell our listeners, 2184 Main Street in Stratford. That's right across from the Stratford Library. So you have this. It's directly across from the library. So I've been to your office. What I'm very excited about that. You take this very serious, educating the public, and you're starting educational programs in your office. You do it once a month, and as a matter of fact, we have one coming up on Wednesday at 6:30 to 8. That's August 22nd. So the title is "Insurers Want Your Money Only. Do you know what you're getting?" So what's behind that? Don't give too much away, but what's behind that title?
Well, basically, there's a lot of rip-offs going on these days in medicine, and people need to be educated on just how to approach it. And that's one of the things we try to do beyond taking care of patients. We're trying to guide them through the minefield of surprise bills and...
From the insurance companies?
The insurance companies and everyone else
hospitals
involved. Hospitals, exactly. People are walking into surprises.
Concept,
yeah, thank you. There was an article maybe 2 months ago in Norwalk Times where people in Connecticut have had to pay out an extra, over the course of the 2 years prior, an extra $1 billion in extra payments. And in the past 3 years, the federal government has had to pay out an extra $2.7 billion for Medicare people, Medicare recipients, and Medicare recipients have had to pay out of pocket $450 million in a 3-year period. So the charges have gone up exponentially, and there's a lot that people need to be aware of and to look out for.
And that's just in the state of Connecticut?
That's in the state of Connecticut. Well, the Medicare numbers I gave, those are national
numbers,
but but everyone's being overcharged everywhere, and Connecticut is one of the places.
Dr. Lee, any feedback from the insurance company? Any outcry? Any legal things they're going to try to get you with, or?
I don't believe so.
I would love to see them come tumbling down.
Now, the voice you're hearing, which I didn't introduce yet, is our good friend and...
She forgets who I am.
No, contributor, Dr. Rich Gellick. Welcome tonight. I would have introduced you a little bit, but I know you impatient. That's right. So,
that's wonderful.
In many states, the insurance companies have tried to trample on this, and they've lost overwhelmingly, and every time
the insurance companies
wonderful, have tried to fight this because they look at it as a threat to dipping into their pocket. Exactly.
So
good for you, Doc.
Most people they're used to coming in with a copay, and the doctor will take the insurance or not. And the patient really doesn't know what all of these services cost. But then when they open up the mail and they see the bills, and then they see, for this cost $2,000, and they only paid $700. Then people pay attention.
Absolutely.
And this is what the education. This is what you're putting out. That's what we want.
I have patients that come in, and I've had it in the past where they would come in and they'd say, "Well, I have insurance, so what do I care about the charge?" But they get surprised when it's their deductible or something else called co-insurance comes into play. So they have their $10,000 colonoscopy at the hospital, and lo and behold, they get a $2,000 bill. Whereas if they did that same colonoscopy at an outpatient facility that wasn't owned by the hospital, they might pay $100. So
that is so hard to believe.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm looking at my producer. He's nodding his head. And you're coming on Wednesday, right? Yes, he said yes.
Oh,
yes.
excellent.
We have several people that are coming. So definitely, I just want to say this to our audience. You do need to call the office tomorrow for reservations. Let me give you the number, 203-378-9002. So, and it's on August the 22nd. Insurers want your money only. Do you know what you're getting? So this is a new thing, and that Dr. Forrest is doing in his office, and of course September, October, right through December, and we have a little refreshments and a little gathering, and the hour goes by so quickly. But when you want to change something, you need to educate, because people don't get it right away. I didn't get it right away.
Yes,
and so many things changed from the medical insurance that I still have in my head from the 90s. Today they have, in companies, let's say for 50 people, they all have different deductibles. Unheard of in the 90s. I was a finance broker. Unheard of. So I still have some old information in here too.
I like the body system he chose to illustrate what the insurance companies are doing to us.
What do you mean?
Well, a colonoscopy, I mean.
You just, is it true? Can you get a colonoscopy for $100? I didn't get that, but that's fine.
Well, it depends on how you approach it, but with insurance, it is making a difference where people go to have their things done. So all different procedures. A certain procedure that when I did take insurance, certain things that we did in my office, other offices could get 10 times or more, depending on their arrangement, if they were owned by a hospital system, things of that nature. So there's a lot to be aware of, and we do our best to try to educate people and to guide them in the right route on how to do things. CAT scans and MRIs that used to cost, let's say, $1,200 5 years ago, now they're $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000. So we have places we can get them for $500. One gentleman came into my office. I told him he had an MRI of his elbow, and I said, "Oh, by the way, what did you end up paying for that?" It was $2,500. I told him I could have got that MRI for you, and you could have come to me for 3 years and still saved money.
Yeah. See, we all need to know that. That's why we started the series. And especially when people have $5,000, $10,000, whatever deductible is, then you really have to reach into your wallet.
Absolutely.
And then when you become very cost conscious, you want the trust, but you also want, I don't want to spend $10,000 and pay for the rest of my life or give them my annuity. No,
Absolutely.
I'm not doing that.
As doctors, we've always had the Hippocratic Oath and do no harm. And so do no harm should also include do no financial harm.
Yeah.
Dr. Forrest, are you affiliated with a hospital group?
No.
One thing I found interesting, I went to my cardiologist recently, and I got a charge from the cardiologist. I also got a charge that I didn't expect from the hospital group that owns the cardiologist. It was $500 that I had no idea was coming. So that's
That's
very
the facility
interesting.
charge.
That drives you back to the cardiologist.
Yeah, so I went to the cardiologist. What's this? Well, and they said, well, you signed the form. And I said, what form did I actually sign? And there is a form. It says, and it's quite long, so you have to read practically 2 pages, and you have to have a lawyer with you while you're doing it.
Need a lawyer with you. Yeah.
And there's a kind of a nebulous thing in the bottom there that says that there may be additional charges, and so it's just the interesting nature of how healthcare is today, and the various different ways that insurance companies, hospital organizations actually work.
I remember, then I have to wrap it up with Dr. Forrest. I remember going to my doctor, and he ordered a whole series of blood work. Now, I wanted to go to that lab because I don't want to be surprised and not just go in there. Okay, the doctor ordered this. So, and go in there, make the appointment, go in there, and then I owe several $1,000s. So I never made it to the lab, but now I know you, so I can, if I need anything, I can ask you, and you know where to send me. But you know what? I never had those blood tests done. You remember that, Doc? Remember I had the problems with my back?
That's a big problem. People are avoiding care because of the cost, because of the ridiculous, outlandish costs, and that's what we're trying to break that bad thing that's
What a
happening
noble
to people.
mission. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. We're going to hear more about Dr. Lee Forrest. Please go to his website, drleeforrest.com, but also on the WICC website, under specialty programming, you will see Dr. Lee Forrest, and you just have to click whatever is more convenient. But just go to drleeforrest.com. Doctor, for now, thank you. I'm going to ask you to stay for the next 2 hours because you have a lot to contribute with Judge Alberg. So thank you for now.
Thank you, Mariette.
We're going to repeat your website and telephone number again. We're going to go for a quick break then, and then we're coming back with Judge Alberg. I'm so looking forward to that. Thank you, Doctor, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
Contact Dr. Lee Forrest at Fairfield Family Physicians in Stratford, Connecticut today for all your questions and concerns. 203-378-9002 and on the web at drleeforrest.com. To good health always.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real hair back permanently. Check them out today because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts GROW to 85850. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text GROW to 85850. Ask about the Bosley Guarantee, GROW to 85850.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate, guaranteed not not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Termbusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Termbusters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hi, this is Mariette. The boomers and boomer wannabes. What is happening to the golden years? A roundtable discussion with the experts such as Judge Kurt Alberg and Dr. Lee Forrest from Stratford, Connecticut, and many more. Get an insight into your independence, health, and your finances, and meet the expert directly at the Stratford Library on Tuesday, September 25th from 6:30 till 7:45. For additional information, please call 203-505-3660. Limited seating and reservations, please, by September 20th. Refreshments served. So this is on location, the boomers and boomer wannabes, and you can meet the experts directly. Thank you.
This is WICC 600.
And we're back. Hi, I'm Mariette Camera, your host of LifeTalk with Mariette. Tonight, a 2-hour program on the boomers and boomer wannabes. And I have dedicated our music to Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. May she rest in peace.
Do you know she sang opera?
Yes, I saw that.
She filled in for Luciano Pavarotti.
That's right. I saw that the other day. I loved it.
He canceled a performance at the last minute.
Yeah.
She filled in and sang
incredible.
an aria.
She just did like she always did.
That was the most amazing thing I've ever heard.
I love it. So anyway, that was my friend Jim Elferry. I also have here in the studio Doc Rich. He is a naturopathic and chiropractor and a LifeTalk contributor. And I have asked Dr. Lee to stay with us because we're going to have some nice discussions. And before I introduce Judge Alberg to you, I want to tell you a little bit about him. Kurt M. Alberg was elected judge of probate for the District of Stratford in 2014 and took office in January 2015. He has been a practicing attorney in Stratford for over 40 years with a specialty in elder law, estate planning, Title 19, planning and application, and probate litigation. His practice also includes real estate transactions, Title 19, small businesses, and some civil litigation. So, I mean, it's incredible, but I have to just shorten it a little bit. So, Judge Alberg practiced law with his father, H. Manton Alberg, until his death in 1990, and in 2014, he was joined in his law practice by his nephew, Carl A. Glad, with whom he is now in partnership under the firm name, the Law Offices of Kurt M. Alberg, LLC. So, I want to give out a big shout to Carl A. Glad, and I also want to give a shout out to Judge's family, Kathy, and his 3 grown children and 4 grandchildren, if they're listening. And a very warm welcome to you, Judge.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the shout-out. I think my grandkids might be asleep by now, but Judge Gampy will tell them tomorrow.
Well, I wanted to cover everything.
Thank you.
You know, so anyway. Adult
conservatism.
Conservators.
I have to practice. Conservator. We would like to talk more about it. So because times change, people change, life makes changes for us, and sometimes it cannot be so pretty. So I kind of gave a little scenario. Somebody is in midst of their life, and all of a sudden they experience a stroke. Mm-hmm. I'm very close to that thought that I'm presenting to you. So, and some people are not very lucky, so they become disabled. So what happens without giving, painting the picture worse, what happens if that person really becomes disabled now?
But before they become disabled, one can't anticipate that. But a few things people can think about doing is a power of attorney, appointing someone to take care of their financial affairs if something calamitous like a stroke happens, appointing a healthcare representative, someone that can authorize medical treatment, talk to doctors. Under the HIPAA laws, as Dr. Lee is aware, Dr. Forrest is aware, I'm sorry, you can't give out divulge medical information unless there's a signed authorization in the patient's file. You can do that in advance. So if you have a power of attorney or a healthcare directive, you don't need to have a conservator appointed. As a matter of fact, one of the new laws since 2007 in Connecticut requires that if there are advance directives like this that are working, then as a judge, I cannot appoint a conservator. So the only time that a conservatorship becomes necessary is, one, these advance directives are not signed in advance, or two, for some reason they're not working. And oftentimes in my court, I'll ask the question, there'll be a power of attorney or a healthcare directive, and they aren't working. And I'll ask why, and it might be over burdensome for the person whom was designated. They can't do it. Someone may have moved away. There might be discord or discontent in the family. So then we have to look at a conservatorship. And what that does, basically, there are two types. There's a voluntary conservator, where one can ask the court that I appoint someone for them, and the person comes to court, asks that so-and-so be appointed, and I ask that person who wants to be conserved the reason for it. Oftentimes they don't have these documents. They want a child or another family member to be appointed to that capacity, and it's fine. The more difficult task becomes with an involuntary, where the person might not consent to being conserved or cannot give their consent, and that requires a hearing. It requires a state marshal notify that person that they're going to be conserved. It requires a physician's evaluation. I've worked with Dr. Forrest many times on these evaluations. Mm-hmm. We are required to appoint an attorney to represent the interest of the conserved person, and it requires a hearing, an evidentiary hearing. And I've got to hear pretty compelling evidence, clear and convincing evidence from whoever the petitioner is, why that person needs to be conserved. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Would you give us because you deal with this, Judge, another scenario? So here we have the person who had a stroke. They have a little bit of money, they have property, and they really need care now around the clock. Let's just give them in their 40s, late 40s, let's just say, late 40s. So, and they certainly, let's say they have absolutely nothing, no power of attorney, nothing. They have to start from scratch. So, the first thing is they have to get an attorney. They should get an attorney.
They should get an attorney.
Attorney. Why couldn't the attorney just handle everything for that person? Does an attorney do that?
Not that often. In Connecticut, in my private practice, before I became a judge, and as a judge, I prefer, and the system prefers, a family member, so that an attorney has not become involved. Now, if there is no family member available, then we do look for attorneys. We have a list of attorneys who are screened. We also have now contract conservators. They are attorneys who are contracted with the state of Connecticut. They're paid a certain rate per month to undertake this task. They do a superb job. This is all they do. They're called contract conservators.
Conservators.
Mm-hmm. So if there isn't a family member or there isn't a local attorney who wants to do this, there are expenses involved. Oftentimes people who are conserved have no assets. Their assets are gone. They're in a nursing home. They need to apply for assistance, Medicaid Title 19. So then we look to the contract conservators to undertake this. Or in a situation I just had a hearing where the family couldn't agree amongst themselves who was going to be the appropriate conservator. And because there was disagreement, discord amongst the family, I appointed a contract conservator.
There are many people that are by themselves.
Yep.
So, and let's say maybe they have a daughter, they want really nothing to do with it. So let's just
happens a lot.
So the person is all by themselves. That's a very sad thing. Sad thing. So one area they could have a contract conservator that costs X number of dollars a month.
No, it's the state pays for it.
Oh, the state pays.
The state pays for it. Yep.
Judge, what are the duties of a conservator? Essentially,
there are two types of conservators. There's a conservator of the person.
Yeah.
That person makes decisions as to medical care treatment, authorizing medical care, including emergency treatment, where the conservative person resides, in a nursing home or in their own home environment, those day-to-day type of things. The second is a conservator of the estate, and that person manages the money that the conservative person has, the assets.
So it's like a power of attorney, like a healthcare power of attorney.
You can liken it to a conservator of the person is, in essence, a healthcare designation, if there isn't one, a healthcare representative. A conservator of the state really is a power of attorney in that capacity. So you look at that difference, that really is what it comes down to.
So sometimes, for various reasons, a family member may simply not want that responsibility.
Correct. Oftentimes there'll be someone, hopefully, I look to a family member, and if the conservative person has a preference, if they've appointed someone before, or appointed an attorney, a power of attorney, for example, or a healthcare representative, but that's not working for whatever reason, I'll look to that person, the family member, and say, can you do this? And if you cannot, tell me why. And then I look to another alternative if we can't. So that becomes important. It's an important criteria to look at.
So they can change the conservators.
Yeah. Yep. And if there's some reason why a conservator is not working, oftentimes we have successor conservators at the time of an appointment. We can have a backup in case the first one cannot serve. Oftentimes we have conservators who resign. It just becomes overwhelming. And again, look to the family. If family can't do it, then we look to outside sources, an attorney in the area, or these contract conservators who are attorneys.
You know, I could just picture when you can't help yourself and you depend on the outside. First of all, you depend on a judge, whatever the judge decides, right? Let's say we hire the conservator, yeah. And let's say you don't get along. You don't like them. You don't like their face. That happens too.
Happens too.
Because maybe they're not sensitive enough. Maybe you just sense it. They're polite, but you sense that something isn't right. Who wants a person like that making decisions for you? So what do you do then?
What I've done is ask the contract conservator to resign, unless they've already done so, and I look for somebody else. There's got to be a chemistry between whoever is going to be the conservator under any capacity and the conserved person. They've got to get along. The duty of the conservator is to look at the preferences of the conserved person, really find out who that person is, what their lifestyle is, what they want to accomplish, their environment, their background, and see that their needs are being met in the least restrictive environment possible. Sometimes it's impossible. If the person has Alzheimer's to such an extent they can't communicate, oftentimes they end up in a nursing home. And then really it's a Hail Mary.
Well, I wonder, though, sometimes with a family, if family members are not getting along, appointing a conservator in the family unit may not necessarily be the best interest of the patient.
No, that happens quite often. Again, the most recent case I had a few weeks ago was just that, where the family did not get along.
Yeah.
And I just decided on my own to appoint a contract conservator. I thought that the conserved person could best be served by having a professional, independent third party undertake that.
Yeah.
So no preferences, no axe to grind, because I saw if I appointed one or the other, I'd be back in court trying to resolve a conflict, which I can do, or I'd be there with a removal hearing for not fulfilling the duties. So it can be a burden.
So in that case, the impartiality of the conservator was actually served the patient well, as opposed to what it might have been otherwise if you appointed a family member and they're not getting along among the siblings or whatever the case might be. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. There have been horror stories. There was an article in the New Yorker magazine and the Huffington Report a few months ago about abuses in the system.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. I'd like to think we don't have that here in Connecticut. I say that because when we appoint a conservator of the estate, two things have to happen. We either require that a bond be posted. That conservator has to go out and get an insurance policy equal to the amount of the assets they're overseeing. And if there's misuse, if there's fraud, first I call the police. I've done that. I filed a complaint with the police if there's misappropriation of funds, and the bonding company comes in and has recourse to replace the monies and go after the conservator. I've done that. That's happened. Wow. In the absence of that, we can also have what's called a restricted account, where the monies are placed into a bank account, cannot be released without an order from the court. So a lot of the horror stories you hear, I like to think we don't have that here in Connecticut. We also have strict accounting. We have random audits of conservator of the estates. Now, this is a new law that was passed last year, where at random the probate court administration goes through files, and they randomly pick out a conservator to look at the books and see what's going on. We do require accountings every year. The first year after someone is appointed, and every 3 years after that, unless the judge feels it should be more frequently. So we don't really, I haven't seen in my own court the abuses. Yeah, human nature is human nature.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. And I'm reading a little bit here in this, in Maryland, in Nevada. So they're all a little. It's easier for me to say guardianship. I'm still having
That's okay.
problems with the conservator. Yeah, I said it.
Right. Good.
Conservator. So the contract conservator, could that also be a private person, like, let's say myself, or?
No, it has to be an attorney, number one. It's a contract that person, and the attorney enters into a contract with probate court administration. They oversee the probate court system in Connecticut, and they are paid a certain amount. They agree to accept a certain amount based upon the number of cases they have. So it's not private pay. This is really designed for people who have no other assets.
Oh, that's right. That's that.
I can use it. I have used it where people who have assets and can't afford to pay, but it's not. It's more designed for people who don't have the assets.
I see. What about what is going on in some of the states in the U.S. where this is actually the guardian can be a job in apostrophes, where I think they get paid something like $31,000. And anybody could really be a guardian, if you will, a conservator.
They could. No, I don't think that happens here. I'm not
here in Connecticut.
I'm not defending our system, but I am.
Yeah.
Because these horror stories make headlines. It's meat, no question about that. But conservators' fees have to be approved by the probate court judge. So if a conservator wants to pay himself, either conservator of the person or the estate, they got to file an application first and tell me what hours they've done, the time they devoted, and I determine what that rate is. Obviously, a professional, not a contract conservator, they have a contract with the state of Connecticut, but a private attorney or a private individual. A private individual doesn't have the experience that an attorney would or a doctor would, for example. So I'm not going to pay them the same rate that an attorney would charge, or an accountant would charge, or a professional, a doctor would charge.
And there is work involved, you have to, have reports, you have to take care of that person, and then you have to do all your accounting and reporting to the court system. So there's a good amount
It's a lot of work
involved with it.
The very last thing I do when a conservatorship comes in, I explain to the conservator, the proposed conservator, what they're undertaking. It's like, do you really want to do this? Because you've got to file an inventory, what you're managing within 60 days of your appointment. You've got to file a conservator's report if you're conservator of the person, telling me how you're doing and how the conservator is doing. You've got to file this accounting at least once a year, or more frequently if I require it. That person can't be moved. You can't pick them up like the Baltimore Colts moved to Indianapolis in the middle of the night. You've got to get our approval to do that. And we've had situations where people have been taken out of state. That's a no-no. So there are very strict controls in the whole system, I like to think now.
Has the law changed since when you first started practicing? Has the law become more complicated, would you say, or?
It protects the consumer. It protects keep in mind, when dealing with conservatorships, you're taking away persons' fundamental rights.
Sure.
I'm determining that this person is incapable of managing their personal or financial affairs, or incompetent on a number of bases. It might be a physical disability, it might be psychological, Alzheimer's, for example, dementia, traumatic brain injury. You never know where life may take you, which is why we're here. And these diagnoses can take place at any age of life. I've seen people come in with dementia in their 50s, not let alone in their 80s. Absolutely. And they have young kids or kids college age, and they need some help, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And the protection is there to provide for their loved ones.
In the cases of the state, which I've done many of the cases for the state, this is really a lifeline for these people, because they're at risk of physical abuse, financial abuse, and exploitation. And a lot of times they're behind on their bills. They're, at risk of being evicted. Their lights are shut off. Electric and gas are shut off.
God.
Yeah, that's what prompts it. Yeah, we're talking about what happens once we get involved, but as the doctor said, it's amazing. I had one fellow who was living in his car in the middle of January, and the water had been shut off in his house, the pipes burst, and the house was a mess, and he thought that the power had been shut off indefinitely, this poor fellow. So you never know what might come in the door.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Sorry about the quick pause. It's amazing when I hear Judge Alberg and Dr. Forrest, you bring it alive because, you know, I don't mind doing research online, but that Google University, they're not all telling the truth. I mean, you get a little bit of here, a little bit of there, and so forth. But it's nothing like having the experts right here telling us how it is, how it's done.
If you want to sell a magazine, you want to sell something or get somebody's attention online, you're going to throw that red meat out there, and that's what this was about. And it gets your attention, and you're going to read it, and it's horrible.
Let's chum up the waters.
Yeah, but I'd like to think here, at least in Connecticut, if you're that incapacitated or that incapable of managing your affairs, there are adequate checks and balances in the system to prevent that type of abuse.
I think in that particular article in the Huffington Post, it went for bigger assets. That's what the whole article was about, wasn't it, Judge Alberg?
Yeah.
So, and also, what do we need to do? What do we need immediately in place? And I did read that it should be reviewed every 3-4 years.
Well, the power of attorney I mentioned before,
Power of attorney.
I think everybody should really think about these documents. They're called advanced directives. A power of attorney is the financial aspect of it. There was a new law went into effect in 2015, 2016 called the Uniform Power of Attorney Law, so that it didn't invalidate anything that went on before power of attorney. But if you have a new power of attorney since then, you've got to comply with the new law, which is a new form. There are some financial institutions, some banks that will not recognize a power of attorney more than a year or two old. This new law is supposed to resolve that issue so that if you have a power of attorney and you go into a bank, they shouldn't question that. And if they do, I haven't had that come before me yet, but the bank could be responsible for any loss the consumer has as a result of not recognizing the power of attorney.
Now, in the state of Connecticut, if you have a power of attorney, do you need also a healthcare power of attorney or a conservator as well?
No,
or can the power of attorney, appoint a conservator?
There used to be, you can designate a conservator in advance in either of these documents. And it could say, you appoint so-and-so as my power, now they're called an agent, attorney in fact. If the point ever arises where I need to be conserved, I desire so-and-so be my conservator. Well, you should need a conservator if you have a power of attorney that's working. But there are exceptions that we've talked about. The same thing with a healthcare representative. I appoint so-and-so to be my healthcare representative. If for some reason it's not working, I appoint so-and-so, it might be the same person, to be the conservator of my person.
So if you can, it's best to be prepared.
Yeah, always be prepared. Semper Fi.
Look ahead.
Yeah.
And also see what these documents look like. I would want to know from my bank what they would want, what their requirements are, because it changes from bank to bank.
Oh, a lot of financial institutions, investment companies have their own powers of attorney. So you could do one that's inconsistent with Connecticut law, to which we just referred, take it to, I'm not going to pick on any investment firm, and they could say, oh, no, we can't recognize that. You've got to use ours. So if you have investments, 401ks or whatever, invested somewhere, check with your company that's doing that and make sure that you have these documents that are in compliance with what they require, because they might not recognize ours.
Does the probate court provide lists like that people can go down and check off?
No, not really. This is just my own experience as an attorney. I've realized this.
Oh, we've got you in a whole new direction here, Judge.
At what point can a guardianship conservatorship be reversed?
Well, with a voluntary conservatorship, it's easy. The law requires that I terminate that. Let me go back. A voluntary conservatorship, a person comes in, I need some help, I like to be voluntarily conserved. If they send a letter to the court 30 days after that letter is stamped in, saying I want to revoke this, it's done. It's revoked, it's terminated. With an involuntary, it does require a hearing. I had a situation with an involuntary, a fellow had some issues, and he came and asked that it be terminated, a revocation. We had a hearing, and I was convinced that he was capable of taking care of himself, his finances, his personal affairs, and I terminated it. So this is not indefinite. It does not have to go on forever. And there are checks and balances. Again, every 3 years we had to review these documents, review everything. This is part of the process that I described before, with physicians' evaluations updating and conservative reports to say, I've got to make that call based upon all this information. And the attorney whom I appoint to represent the conservator, the three things: physicians, conservator, the attorney for the conservator, and the conservator's report, why that person still needs to be conserved. And if it's not necessary, we have a hearing and it's revoked.
We have Judge Kurt Alberg here in the studio, also Dr. Lee Forrest from Stratford, Dr. Rich, and also my good friend Jim Alfieri. I think we're going for a break, Rich, right? So stay tuned. We have lots more coming.
Back to school tax-free at Holly Lane Shoes. Shop Holly Lane Shoes for tax-free week, August 19th through the 25th. Pay no tax up to $99.99, and if you go over, Holly Lane Shoes will cover your tax with a 6.35% discount. We have a limited number of half-price gift certificates for Holly Lane Shoes at WICC600.com. Click Sweet Deals. Shop tax-free and use coupons for even more savings. Shop the top brands, including the comfortable Kizik hands-free slip-on footwear. And for back to school, trained professionals in the kids department are experts at measuring and fitting children properly. Remember, always shop local, stock up for the family, and save during tax-free week at Holly Lane Shoes and earn bounce-back bucks in Stamford, Norwalk, Shelton, and Orange.
Feeling pain, don't complain. Come on in to Holly Lane.
Extended hours for tax-free week.
You're never going to get as much sleep as you want. That's why you need to make every hour of sleep you do get really count. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. Our sheets are handcrafted from pure, fair trade, 100% organic cotton. Hundreds of thousands of Americans, including 3 U.S. presidents, sleep better than ever on Boll & Branch sheets. If you order today, we'll give you $50 off your first set of sheets with promo code SLEEP, spelled B-O-L-L, and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
In need of comfort? Look to two American icons, the Company Store and the Lacrosse Comforter. Available in down and down-free options in 4 warmth levels and 14 colors. For over 100 years, no one gives you more choices and better quality than the Company Store. Go to thecompanystore.com and enter code RADIO15 to receive 15% off your entire order and free shipping. That's thecompanystore.com. The Company Store. Comfort that fits your style.
Hi, this is Mariette, and join Dr. Lee Forrest. He's the director of Fairfield Family Physicians, a direct primary care office. They're located on 2184 Main Street in Stratford, Connecticut, right across from the Stratford Library. Dr. Forrest has educational programs on a monthly basis, and the first program will start Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018, and the title is Insurer Want Your Money Only. Do you know what you're getting? So that's August 22nd, 2018. Reservations 203-378-9002. So on the web is drleeforrest.com. Reservations, please, 203-378-9002. So, and that's Wednesday, August 22nd from 6:30 to 8. So anybody can make the time because we're all affected by it. Yes, insurers, they only want our money, and then when we need them, oh, it's not covered. So join Dr. Lee Forrest educational programs. You'll be surprised. See you there, and to your good health always.
This is WICC 600.
Take me to heart, and I'll always love you. And nobody can make me do wrong.
I'm Mariette, your host of LifeTalk here on WICC 600. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And I thought the program, which is actually 2 hours tonight, not all about health or conservatorship, but also about reinvention and looking younger than we really are. And we got the specialists coming on at 8:05 because we have the news first, and at 8:05 we will continue. But before we have about 4 or 5 minutes left, I'm so grateful that I met Judge Kurt Alberg in Stratford a couple of weeks ago. Very personable individual, and you feel good being around him, because especially when people need help, when people can't help themselves or don't have the means to help themselves, it's so important to know we have to be able to help ourselves. So those are the experts. Judge Alberg, and also Dr. Lee Forrest, who actually works in, what did you say, you actually work with the family services?
Yes, protective services for the elderly, a state organization that in certain cases needs to conserve people. And so,
because a lot of people say, well, we don't have any money, who would want us? So you do want them. You do want people to contact you, even people that don't have money.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about, and this is the information that we want to share with you tonight. Jim, do you have anything that you want to ask now before we get off air?
I'm good right now.
You're good. How about you, Doc?
Well, I'm just.
You're sleeping.
No. Come on, Marietta.
I'm kidding.
I'm embedded by this. I'm all warm and fuzzy inside. I'm just. The room is filled with the love that I can't even. It's.
Yeah. Okay.
Takes my breath away.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Judge Kurt Alberg, you can reach at 203-377-1311. He does have his office in Stratford. Judge, what would you recommend? How can we wrap this up? Our segment here with
prepared. Before anything, while you have your faculties, while you're younger, talk to an elder law attorney about the issues we discussed. Oftentimes people come to see me and it's too late. There'll be a diagnosis of dementia, or something will happen, or a calamity, or a stroke. So these discussions are important with family, with an elder law attorney, with a physician, and to get these documents in order, just in case. It's imperative nowadays.
I had a stroke in 1996, April 24th. I was very fortunate that I pulled through it, but a lot of people are not. So, and it just, when you can't help yourself, when you don't have your independence anymore, it's just you're really questioning life every single day. And we like to make it easier on you when you know where to go to, who you can trust, even though you read all kinds of things out there. I know that. But we got to start somewhere. So I want to thank you for sharing this with us tonight. And I would like to ask you to stay for the second hour.
Thank you much.
Same with you, Dr. Lee.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Forrest, thank you.
And what is your last word? We have 2 minutes. You have the last word. He said, forget it. So, okay. So let's play a little Aretha Franklin movie, and we're going to take a break here, go for the news. We're going to do a little refreshment here, and we'll be back at 8:05.
Stay tuned for the second half of the Boomers and Boomer Wannabes event right after the news on LifeTalk with Mariette. The following program is paid for by Mariette F. Kammerer, who is solely responsible for its contents. This is LifeTalk, where we tell it like it is. LifeTalk is motivational, helping you get to the next level in life. LifeTalk is educational, to broaden your knowledge. LifeTalk is inspirational, to get you fine-tuned to start doing what you love doing. LifeTalk, sponsored by kmareducation.org. And here is your host, Mariette Kammerer.
Hello again, and you're tuned in to Life Talk with Mariette. I am Mariette, and you're joining the second hour of Boomers, the Boomers and Boomer Wannabes. What is happening to our golden years? Big question mark. Our independence, our health, our finances. So our Boomer generation is looking younger than they really are, feeling fit and ready to pursue new careers, become a business owner, and there's no retirement at a certain age. Transition coach Patricia Raskin will be joining us shortly. As a matter of fact, she is on the phone, and if you like to look younger, 30 years younger, you must listen to our aging specialist, Warren Honeycutt. He'll come on around 8:30. So this is why all of my guests from the first hour are hanging around here. Yeah, all the docs and the judge, they're all here. They're having a heck of a time here in the studio. So, so please stay tuned. And I also want to introduce tonight, speaking about transition and everything. And here we're encouraging the baby boomers, to pursue different avenues. I have a young generation. It's actually Jim Alfieri's son, Chaz.
Chaz, my son Chaz.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll have him on. We'll fit him right in with Patricia, so Patricia knows how to work with him as well. So anyway, let's say hello to Patricia Raskin. Good evening, Patricia. How are you?
Hi, Mariette. Great, thank you.
Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Please meet everybody. All the men here. I'm surrounded by 6 men here. So, Patricia, you really got the word because you are a transitional coach. And what does that mean?
Well, that's part of what I do. I'm really a proponent of positive aging through radio programs, television programs, my writing, my TED Talks, and also helping people through transition because I had to go through it older. So I really, reinvented myself older. And I think that it's just very much having a vision and believing that you can do it. And as we get older, things do change. Our bodies are different. But we're in a great time now because people are not only living longer, we have all of the abilities and facilities to live a good life longer in terms of medical breakthroughs and in terms of just our own abilities and our cognitive abilities to live longer. So it's a good time to do it. And we really need to because we have a large part of the population are getting older.
Right. You're also an author of 2 books, Success, Your Dream, and You. Well, that will never change. That's a good title. That lasts for your entire life. It's good. It will not change. And also Pathfinding, 7 Principles for Positive Living. So, and I know, Patricia, you are so busy and also diversified. You are a talk show host on what is it?
Voice America.
Voice America. Doc Rich looks at me like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. He was supposed to fill in, Patricia, and he looks at me. Can you imagine? You know the feeling?
Is that a conservative show or?
Anyway, so So when you work with your clients, have they already retired, or are they starting a little? Let's say somebody is an employee, and they've been doing the same job for 25 years, and then they come to you and say, Patricia, can you help me out because I like to open up a business. Let's say they want to become a naturopathic physician. Let's just say, and they're going through all the schooling and everything, and they're just about ready to open up an office. How can you help them? This is my scenario. If you have another one, by all means, please.
No, I think the main thing of this, no matter what age you are, is you have to look at what's your vision. You know, what's your goal? What do you want? And what, not just what do you want in terms of being, for example, a doctor or a naturopath or a massage therapist, but what are the qualities of what you're looking for? Do you want peace in your life? Do you want joy? Do you want connection? Do you want, an opportunity to just really reach out to a lot of people? Do you want to heal people? Do you want to be very creative, or do you want to be structured? And so I think before you can really pick exactly what you want, you have to know what really brings you joy in terms of those internal qualities. And then you start looking at, okay, what is it that I want to do? And what would this work? Would, being in private practice work? Would being in a group work? Would just counseling people work? What would work for me? And then once you figure that out, then you start putting things on paper. Okay, what will this cost me? What are the resources that I need? Who are the resources that I need? So I think no matter what age you're at, those are steps. However, as you get older, the game changes in terms of, our bodies are not quite the same. We may not see or hear quite as well or move quite as fast, but it doesn't matter because we can still do everything. We just may not do it at exactly the same speed that we did it before. But so many people now, 60 plus, even 70, are really vibrant and they're vital. And again, it takes more self-care. You have to really look at what you're doing with your own life more. You have to pay more attention than you did. It's like a car that you've kept for years. You have to take care of it more. And so I think that the structure for creating a new business is the same, but I think we don't have as much time as we get older. So we look at things differently. We also have more wisdom because we've made more mistakes and had more successes. So I think all of those things play in.
It's always about attitude, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's also knowing if you go into the people business, especially in the service business, you got to be a people person. And I have, in my years of work, found that they don't have it. And very soon, they get all the education that's needed. And you know what? They just don't make it because they should have never started that business, the people business, the service business, because they cannot relate very well to people. I've seen that over and over again.
Can you be taught that, though? Or?
Can you be taught, Patricia, can you be taught that?
Can you be taught how to relate to people?
Is that what you mean, Doc?
Yes.
Yeah, I think like anything else, it depends on how much you want to. I think a lot of times people who don't relate well to people have their own personality and they have certain characteristics that have gotten them what they want, but they may not be user-friendly, meaning they're difficult people. Right? They can be arrogant, they can be people pleasers, they can be bulldozers, they can be, they can not work well with people, be argumentative, and it's worked for them, it's gotten them something. Mm-hmm. So the question is, if they really do want to work in that team, or if they, yes, you can learn that, but you've got to make a change.
What about Patricia's story? How young were you when you made the transition?
Well, I've had a lot of transitions, but actually I really became an entrepreneur in my 60s, my late 50s, early 60s. I had always done my media work, but I never really had to monetize it until then. And, that wasn't easy because I was in a new market. It was during the recession, and I just went out there and I networked, and I found sponsors, and I believe in my principles so much of showing positive role models. And
good for you.
Turn problems into solutions that I've been able to do it.
Wonderful.
Patricia, you strike me as somebody that has a very positive attitude, and I think one of the key things when you say you want to change, whenever you want to change, You have to have the motivation to want to do that. And I've
Right.
seen people go through downward spirals in later times of their lives. And in the process of going through downward spirals, they begin to disconnect themselves from the rest of the world. And when you start to do that, then it makes it almost impossible to change.
Yes, I agree with you. Right. You have to be able to see that light, and you have to be able to see the goal, and you have to be able to keep that dream alive.
Yeah.
Somewhere you have to, if that door shuts and all you see is dark, like you said, you're going to go down the rabbit hole and you won't be able to make it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thought I'd like to express, in order to really change, I would like to advise people to get involved in projects unrelated to your goals. So you may know your goal, you may not, but the unrelated projects that you participate in, that's what you need to do. And a lot of people say, and I'd like to introduce, this is almost a segue here to our young friend, Ches.
Yes.
When you do things that you're not familiar with, this is when you say, oh, I was afraid of that. Oh, and, I never liked this, but all of a sudden, I really like this, Patricia. And this is really where people, when people do that, they find your direction on that path. That's the nice part.
Getting out of your comfort zone. Do you talk about that, Patricia? Getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, I've had to do it. So, I do talk a lot about it. But, for me, it comes back to how much do you believe in what you want? Even when it gets really tough, how much do you believe in it? And how much are you willing to keep trying? And to just go that, what they say, sometimes you gave up just before you would have gotten that opportunity.
Yes.
So I'm not being Pollyanna here. This is not an easy thing. This is not for the weary or for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Because,
true.
If you don't see it in front of you, it's scary. But that doesn't mean it's not cooking or it's not there.
Yeah. You have to believe in yourself, I think, first of all.
Yeah.
Which can be hard to do if you lost your confidence, that sort of thing.
How do you fill the archive of believing in yourself when you try different projects that you've never done before? That's how you get to that point where you start believing in yourself. It's like somebody being an employee. They make X number of dollars a year, let's say $200,000. So now they jump into the entrepreneurship. They're not making $200,000, but they have the potential to get there maybe in 2 or 3 years. So they don't have that belief that they can make it. But somebody who has gone on that journey, like you, like us, we know that. But you always have to have the right tools that pay you, that money again, and that's not always possible.
Yeah, let me say this, Mariette. I think what you bring up a very good point. You have to have resources. Whether you barter for them or you pay for them, you've got to get help. If you're not great on the computer and you don't know how to write a business plan, don't knock yourself out. Do what you're good at and get someone to help you. And if you say to me, well, I can't afford it, then use your resources and barter. There's always a way if you really want something.
You're
but
so
I
right.
say to people, do what you're good at. Don't waste your time knocking yourself out for something that's going to take you 3 hours that somebody could do in 10 minutes.
Patricia, I love your energy. I love your energy. Tonight, you're in the seat. You're really in the seat. And I tell you, I must say, not that I just want to talk about that. When I was a little girl, I had a very strong will. What I didn't want to do, I didn't want to, and I didn't do it. So I'm the same way today when I create projects, and I have to love the projects, love the ideas and everything, and put it together. I have to want to do it because what I'm saying is I have to love something that I put the right puzzle pieces together, and I do it. I work it.
I want Patricia to be my partner on Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious now.
You're funny, Doc.
It's funny you say that because I watched that show a couple of times, and I said to myself, why would anybody put themselves through that? Why?
Getting out of their comfort zone.
I wouldn't do that.
Really? So I can get bitten and I can get, chewed up to death? I don't.
The mosquitoes. I couldn't do the mosquitoes. That's the only thing.
First, it doesn't. It's not a turn on for me with the bugs and all of this, and also with the being naked in front of somebody's I don't even know. I don't care if you have the gorgeous figure or not. No, I don't care about that. No, I find that very intimate. I don't want that. I'm not 30 years old anymore. Meaning where I nonchalant. Wait a minute. I have Patricia. Before I forget, I want our listeners to know that when you're on air, you have had great celebrities, and one of them that I adore him, Mr. Wonderful, who always says, "What are your sales?" Please, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, when I was doing the business show, I've been both on broadcast radio. I've done television and radio, but I've been on broadcast radio and on the internet radio, which I'm still on. And I was doing a show called Positive Business, and I had Kevin O'Leary on twice, actually. He was one of the most confident, self-assured, smooth interviews I've ever had. I mean, just amazing. I mean, he's larger than life, and it really comes through on the phone. And he just talked about, what success takes, and he talked about his children, just in that, he helps his children to a point, but they're going to make it on their own. That, in a sense, it's you help people, but you don't hand things to people, and you're there giving advice. I mean, he was pretty clear about, being motivated on your own and what it takes to get there. And he's talked about his mother and how his mother really taught him about investing. I think that when he was young, she really invested well. She just knew how to work with money really well. Mm-hmm. And I think that gave him a great lesson.
I would love to meet him. Is there anything you can do here for us?
Well,
he probably will say, "What are your sales, Marietta? What are your sales?"
I think I may have the address for his office, or I certainly would be happy to send that along.
Yeah.
I do have the interview on my website. I believe that's in my still on my nav bar. I do have that interview.
Oh, we have to give you your website.
Yeah.
Patricia, I would...
PatriciaRaska.com.
Right. I would like you to stay with us for the duration of the program, if you have the time, because we also have Warren Honeycutt coming on in just a little bit. But if you allow us, it's always about transitioning from youth into adulthood and going to college. We have a proud father sitting here in the studio that can't wait. And please, we want your input. He might have some questions too. So shoot.
Well, thank you. Yes, it gives me great pleasure to introduce my son, Francesco Alfieri. And Chess is about to go to college for his first year. Chess. And one thing we've been talking about is this getting out of our comfort zone in the process of growth. And particularly when you're a young man, you're a teenager, these kinds of things, you start to experience all sorts of new and wonderful things. About 3 years ago, we took Chess out of his warm and cozy room and away from his Xbox and practically threw his cell phones away and thrust him in the wilderness for a 12-day program through a national nonprofit organization called Outward Bound, which is an adventure and wilderness experience. So Chess spent 12 days literally without phone, without outside contact. So Chess, do you recall those wonderful experience that you had about 3 years ago?
Yeah. So, I mean, starting off, like heading into it, it was pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. Considering I was forced into it, I wasn't enjoying it at all. I wanted out the first 3 days. I didn't know anyone. And I can kind of relate to this with college, heading into college, because, at first I went in and I was really negative about the whole thing. Again, like I said, I didn't know anyone. But after a few days and realizing it wasn't that bad without my phone and people that I already knew, and once I socialized with everyone, I started to realize that,
it was a good experience. Tell us about that term. We talked about this coming over. What was the turning point? Because I know you were saying that you kind of wanted to quit every single day, but there was literally a point, Chess, where you kind of felt that turning point where it actually wasn't so bad. What was that time?
Yeah, one of the days, I'd say it was the third or fourth day, when all of the members, we were starting to socialize a lot more, and we really became really good friends, as if we had known each other for years. And that was the point at which I realized, heading into different situations in my life, I really have to be a lot more optimistic about everything, and just see things a lot differently than I had before.
Yeah, and didn't you see, you came up to the top of one of the mountains where you could actually look out, and you had this amazing vista, this amazing view, and that's kind of an interesting point, because that's when you could literally and figuratively see new opportunities ahead for you. Mm-hmm. So it was not only a great view of...
Spiritual, man.
Yeah. Wouldn't you say? And tell us about that rock wall that you climbed. Didn't you climb a 200-foot rock wall where you'd never done that before in your life?
Yeah, it was my first time. I saw it, and there was no way I was going to do it. But the members of my group, they pushed me, and I said, I'm gonna do this thing. And I went up first try. I got to the top. It was a 100-foot just cliff. And then, that was the point at which I realized, if I believe in myself, and if I trust my instincts, that, I can accomplish almost anything.
Absolutely.
Patricia, you're there, right? You can hear us?
Yes,
I'm here. Here's a young man who came out of his comfort zone and probably said, why the heck am I doing this? And when you're without your cell phones and what you have daily, that doesn't feel right either. So this is what I'm saying, to put yourself in unfamiliar territories. Now, going out in the wilderness, you went out in the wilderness, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what did you do all day?
Well, we learned to, start fires. We learned to, build our own shelter. Just learn a lot about the wildlife and just nature and navigating around, because we were on the Appalachian Trail. We didn't have any...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have any phones or anything, so we had to use compasses and maps and things like that. And, it doesn't seem like a lot, but the days went by pretty fast, and we were having a great time.
I watched this on YouTube, how they make fire in the wilderness and everything. And same with I can't read a compass. All of these things. I always looked at things as exciting. Mm-hmm. Would I do it today with a whole bunch of people? I think I would. But once you're out of... once you don't have your comfortable bed anymore, you sleep on... What did you sleep on?
We just slept on the ground.
Oh, my God. In sleeping bags, right?
No.
Well, and I have to tell you something very funny. When we picked Chess up after 12 days, my ex-wife and I got a beautiful hotel in Baltimore, and we couldn't wait to see our son again and to put him in a hotel room with a nice, warm, comfortable bed.
Aww.
I woke up in the middle of the night when we brought Chess back. He was sleeping on the floor.
But that's the difference between a young person, a millennial, and a boomer, because I'm not giving up my bed or my hot shower, so God bless you.
But he had gotten used to sleeping on the ground, so he actually didn't want to sleep in that comfortable bed that I paid $300 a night for, practically. And but that's how he made that transition and adapted to his surroundings. And I think for the first few nights, Chess, I think you slept on the floor, right?
Well, when
you got back.
Oh, yeah.
So, Patricia, I'd like to bring you into the conversation again. Here's a young man that went through this. It may not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but I think it's quite an accomplishment because he endured it. He's building his endurance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though maybe he didn't like it at first. We don't know. I'm going to ask him why did you endure it? Why did you do it? Because your mom and dad said you didn't want to disappoint your mother and father? Or what was your thinking? Just straight out, tell me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like at first, I didn't want to do it at all, and then I was really thinking about quitting. 3 people actually quit during the whole 2 weeks, and I was really thinking about quitting, but I didn't want to let my other members down, and I didn't want to let my parents down, so I just kept going.
Good for you.
Good
for you, because the next, right, Patricia, the next encounter that is not quite as comfortable, Chaz is going to look at much more with an open mind. He's not going to say, no, I'm not going to do it. Because I was a person in my younger years, pretty much throughout my life, when things got tough, I would start something different. So, and a lot of adults are like that. And it's been about 30 years now. I stick to, I don't care how difficult it gets. If I like what I put together, I'll pursue it. What do you think, Patricia?
Well, I agree with that. I mean, I've done the same thing. I mean, it may change form. You know, I mean, it might be a radio show 1 minute, it might be a book or a blog. But as long as you keep your mission, I mean, I've stayed with my mission for over 3 decades. It's, as I said to you, it's changed form. It's been television, it's been radio, it's been a documentary, it's been a show, it's been a podcast, it's been a book, it's been, you know, but it doesn't, it's been an event, it might be a workshop, but it's all the same kind of thing. And if you really believe in something and you stay with it, I think you have to be willing to change with the times. And so the form of that, as I said, might change. But yes, I totally believe in that, and I've done it.
Yeah, so just the example, Chess as an example tonight. He didn't want to disappoint. It doesn't really matter what was his motive. The fact is that he endured. Is that correct? Judge, would you say the same thing, Doctor?
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's a hell of an accomplishment.
Thank you.
So it really, really is. I mean that. I don't have to tell you.
So after graduation, you're going to volunteer to be a Navy SEAL, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Set him up for that.
Yeah, we've been talking about that.
Or maybe
I just
some
asked.
suit diving. What is that? The suit diving?
Scuba diving?
No, not scuba diving. Where you fly.
Base jumping.
Not
Or-
base jumping. The suit flying.
The squirrel suit?
Oh, yeah, right.
I think that's base jumping.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's not that. No. You have a suit on and you fly through the air.
Yeah, we've seen that. I don't remember what it's called.
I
but
think it's suit jumping, but maybe I'm off one word or two.
Something none of us would ever do, so.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for your input. That's a hell of an accomplishment. You know,
Thank you.
Next time, let's build on that, because you're building your endurance, and that's what we need. Going through life, we need endurance to make our pursuit. We need that.
A little bit of confidence doesn't help either when you're going through life and making changes and things of that sort. So
we
that's
always
good.
have a long ways to go with confidence. It's such a big archive. The confidence. We need a lot of experiences to fill that, where we can say, "Oh, I feel confident in general."
Patricia, I have a question for you. It's Jim.
Yes.
Did you do a TED Talk?
I'm giving one in November.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where's that? Where will that be?
It will be in Fall River, Massachusetts, at the Narrows Art Center.
And
Yep, and I'm calling it Aging Up in a World That's Aging Down.
I'll be there.
Great.
Good.
Guys, I have to go for a break. After the break, we have Warren Honeycutt coming on. He is, of course, the man that can make us 30 years younger, maybe 40 years. I like to exaggerate a little bit. So, Patricia, please stay with us, and we'll see you in a moment.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hi, this is Mariette, and join Dr. Lee Forrest. He's the director of Fairfield Family Physicians, a direct primary care office. They're located on 2184 Main Street in Stratford, Connecticut, right across from the Stratford Library. Dr. Forrest has educational programs on a monthly basis, and the first program will start Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018, and the title is Insurer Want Your Money Only. Do you know what you're getting? So that's August 22nd, 2018. Reservations 203-378-9002. So on the web is drleeforrest.com. Reservations, please, 203-378-9002. So, and that's Wednesday, August 22nd from 6:30 to 8. So anybody can make the time because we're all affected by it. Yes, insurers, they only want our money, and then when we need them, oh, it's not covered. So join Dr. Lee Forrest's educational programs. You'll be surprised. See you there, and to your good health always.
Life after military service is different. Many veterans find transitioning difficult, feeling lost and uncertain about the future. These feelings don't take away from a veteran's strength, courage, or sense of duty. If you're a veteran in crisis or know one who is, the power of one person, one connection, one act of compassion can make a difference. For free 24/7 confidential support, call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1, or visit veteranscrisisline.net.
This is WICC 600.
Hey, Bluefish Tournament people. Hey, anybody who loves a chance to win $25,000 while going fishing. Our 36th annual WICC 600 Port Jefferson Ferry Greatest Bluefish Tournament on Earth is coming up the weekend of August 25th and 26th. And this year, we have a lower registration fee and more cash prizes to win. Pay less, win more. Reel in $25,000 for catching the heaviest bluefish. The top 20 catches win cash prizes totaling almost $40,000. And our registration fee is just $36. That's 25% below last year. Our lowest registration fee in a decade. So come on, go fishing, have fun, and win big money in our WICC 600 Port Jefferson Ferry Greatest Bluefish Tournament on Earth, August 25th and 26th. Tournament sponsors include attorney Tom Gannam and GE Credit Union. Registration is underway. Pick up forms at Bait and Tackle shops in Southern Connecticut and Long Island, or register by phone or online. Go to WICC600.com or call 203-366-BLUE.
In need of comfort? Look to two American icons, the Company Store and the Lacrosse Comforter. Available in down and down-free options in 4 warmth levels and 14 colors. For over 100 years, no one gives you more choices and better quality than the Company Store. Go to thecompanystore.com and enter code RADIO15 to receive 15% off your entire order and free shipping. That's thecompanystore.com. The Company Store. Comfort that fits your style.
You're never going to get as much sleep as you want. That's why you need to make every hour of sleep you do get really count. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. Our sheets are handcrafted from pure, fair trade, 100% organic cotton. Hundreds of thousands of Americans, including 3 U.S. presidents, sleep better than ever on Boll & Branch sheets. If you order today, we'll give you $50 off your first set of sheets with promo code SLEEP, spelled B-O-L-L, and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Hi, this is Mariette. The boomers and boomer wannabes. What is happening to the golden years? A roundtable discussion with the experts such as Judge Kurt Alberg and Dr. Lee Forrest from Stratford, Connecticut, and many more. Get an insight into your independence, health, and your finances, and meet the expert directly at the Stratford Library on Tuesday, September 25th from 6:30 till 7:45. For additional information, please call 203-505-3660. Limited seating and reservations, please, by September 20th. Refreshments served. So this is on location, the boomers and boomer wannabes, and you can meet the experts directly. Thank you.
This is WICC 600.
Radio host, and some say fitness guru. I've lived this philosophy now for over 60 years, and I truly hope you join us to add more abundance, energy, enthusiasm, and passion to your life.
And I'm Janine Avanti, a world champion high-speed water ski racer, as well as a healthy lifestyle and fitness coach. And together,
we're Get Honeycut. Janine, our first stop is Hollywood, Florida, for the A4M Anti-Aging Conference. 1 in 5 people in their 40s now in America have some degree of disability. 100 million of us in America now are either pre-diabetic or type 2.
It's kind of a stacked deck in some ways because you have all the GMOs, and then you also they have to vitamin-enrich food because if it was good in the first place, you wouldn't have to vitamin-enrich it. They will subsidize the bad food, and the good food, the fresh fruits and vegetables, they don't help financially.
In Christine Avanti's kitchen, she's an author, a nutritionist. She was a fitness coach, a model.
Stay away from packaged food. If you stick with mostly fruits, vegetables, legumes, you are going to be so healthy. Your cholesterol levels are going to go down. The inflammation in the body, the joints.
And I'd like to welcome Warren Honeycutt. Good evening, Warren Honeycutt. How are you?
Good evening, honey. Marietta, I'm good. How are you?
I just swallowed wrong. The bee went into my mouth. That's why the pause.
I thought you were flirting with me. Now I'm down and depressed.
I want everybody to know this was your opening to your radio show. I can't play the whole 3 minutes. And let me introduce you. First of all, we have Patricia Raskin on the other line. You know Patricia?
Yes, I know Patricia. Hi, Patricia. How are you?
Yes, and here in the studio, I want you to meet Doc Rich.
How you doing?
Judge Alberg.
Good afternoon, good evening.
And Dr. Lee Forrest. So you're in good hands.
Hello.
Everybody else went home.
Well, the best state, obviously.
Yes. Now, Warren is an aging and fitness expert and a friend and LifeTalk contributor. And Warren, welcome to the program. And you can actually take it over. I can take a break now, you know?
Well, I can, certainly get the ball rolling in the right direction.
And we like to look 30 years younger. So I'm all ear now.
Well, a bit about myself, Marietta, and you know this, I'm 65 years young. And when I say 65 years young, my blood work puts me at a 34-year-old. And it is not because of magic or great genetics. It's because of lifestyle and choices in what I do as it relates to activity and food choices. And, most of us in America and our culture literally is killing us. And we let the people and the mindset of most of the people affect us in negative ways, and all we have to do is recognize, realize, and understand I've got a freedom to choose. And when that light bulb goes on, all of a sudden your life changes because you choose for it to change. And in America especially, most people, feel, well, I'm in my 30s, I'm slowing down a bit. By the time you hit 45, you've got the middle age spread going on, and the kids are in college or maybe out, but you're just not like you were when you were 20, 25. By the time you get 60, holy cow, most of us give up on walking, okay? And by the time we're 70, we're fortunate to be here. And if we are, a lot of us, and I don't make light of this, are in wheelchairs, and there's just no reason for it.
Picking out your casket.
Again, exactly. And that is just, it's a crying shame, honestly, because we live in, the greatest country on earth in history, and we have all these magnificent choices. And it is even easier for us to stay in shape and live good long after our grandparents did, or a longer life, and healthy life. And, I mean, I'm not into or promoting or not an advocate for just, calling breathing living. That's, to me, that's not living. To me, life is supposed to be full of energy, abundance, passion, and enthusiasm every day. And when it takes a back seat to that, then, our quality of life goes down. And who can really enjoy life? And I'm not saying that people, there's things beyond our beyond our ability to choose. The circumstances sometimes, car wreck, okay, and you're paralyzed. I'm not speaking of those type things. I'm talking about things that we create for ourselves by being overweight, type 2 chosen diabetes, pre-diabetic. CDC says right now, and these are staggering numbers, over 100 million Americans, almost 1 in 3, are pre-diabetic or type 2, and 3% don't even recognize it. Now, that is a serious stat. I know stats are boring for the most part, but when you think about that one, if you really get your mind around it, and you get 100 million people in hospital beds or even just, outpatient care, our country cannot support it. And I mentioned this to a guy the other day, and he said, really? I said, do the numbers.
You're right.
I said, do the numbers and the cost of diabetes and the lack of production in people that have diabetes, with feet missing, with eyesight gone, kidney failure. You do those numbers and lying in a hospital bed in intensive care, and then run the medical cost numbers and then the gross national product, it won't sustain it. Bottom line.
Warren, I have 2 doctors here in the office, one naturopathic physician, the other one is a family physician, And, I'm thinking while you're talking, life, and I'm not looking for an excuse, but I like to say it. Life gets in the way. We get beaten down by life. And I think everybody should have a therapist. Really, I really do. And whether you call them a therapist or a great friend or a minister or best friend, absolutely, we cannot get through this life, Marietta, as an island. We're just not. That's not how our Creator made us. We are made to live with other people, and people. I love this little quote, and it's made the rounds on Twitter and everything else, but I love it. And that is, a great exercise for the heart is reaching down and helping someone up.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And I love, as a jewel of wisdom to me in that. And Marietta, just, again, forgive the examples here, but I since I'm living it, I know it, and I try to encourage people. It may surprise you, but I'm doing this interview tonight from the hospital.
Really?
In Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah. I had a family member that I almost lost Tuesday night. I had to fly back from Tampa. I was doing some training down there. It was a very serious midnight surgery. And I've been here for 4 days. So, now, ask me this. Did I continue to eat right, and did I continue to exercise? Yes. It can be done. We look so often at the minor little bumps in the road as mountains, and we decide we can't get over this.
It happens to me too. To all of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's everybody. Everyone is, not immune, and life does happen. Okay, I don't know of any perfect life on this earth. If there is one, point them out to me. I've never seen it. And what we have to do is take the attitude that whatever comes up, we will make the best of it. Like Zig Ziglar used to say, life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And that's, kind of cheeky and, a cliche, but it's real. And we have, that the choice to look at things through either end of the prism that we choose. And if we don't like what we see, all we have to do is go to the other end.
No high fructose corn syrup, though, Warren.
No,
Just
sir.
pure sugar.
None of that stuff.
No high fructose corn syrup.
All the processed foods.
That's the other thing, Doctor. What we don't realize in America, we are ingesting anywhere now from 100 to 200 pounds of sugar a year, including the high fructose corn syrup as a sugar. Okay? That in and of itself does dramatic damage to a positive life because it affects the mind, it affects the moods, it affects the hormones, and you throw all of those things in there and you're drugged out of your head with sugar, and all of a sudden life don't look too good, and frankly, I don't feel like going to and you don't feel like going to the gym, for Pete's sakes. You don't feel like lifting your head up. And we ingest it, and most of our babies now in America born are already addicted to sugar in the hospital room when they are delivered, because their mom is addicted to it.
Oh, sure.
And more studies. I mean, every study that comes out now points out the ill effects of sugar, not only on the body, but the mind and the moods. And so I get up on my soapbox on that one. Mariette, I don't want to take the show over. Thank you. You know, I do a lot of radio, so
sure, it's a natural. Yeah, of course. I want to bring Patricia back in. Patricia, when you do, you're very, very active. You in many, many areas. How do you deal with stress?
For me, a lot of it is physical activities. So I will do swim aerobics. I do a lot of meditations and prayers, but movement really helps me. Either swim aerobics or I'll, walk on the treadmill. But movement and also listening to music really helps me tremendously.
Wow. How about you, Dr. Forrest?
I try to take walks. I try to work out at home as much as possible. That helps a lot. And, interestingly enough, I got back from a trip to Greece recently. I went on a medical journey to Greece and walked the roads of Hippocrates. And he spoke about these certain things. 2,000-3,000 years ago, they were talking about this. Let food be your medicine. Let medicine be your food. Live life in moderation. And one of the best things of all you could do for yourself is take a walk. So I guess there was laziness back when as well. So get up and walk. And
how about you, Judge Albrecht?
It's a fairly stressful job being a judge, to say the least.
I read about it. Not that I could ever imagine.
Every day, my stress release, my therapy is taking my dog for a long walk. I get home, put on my old clothes, and take her for a long walk, and come home. And this time of year, go for a swim in my pool, and my wife knows the drill, and she'll have a cold drink ready for me. But that's one part of it. Second thing I want to mention, too, there is one thing I always think of as we go through life, especially acquiring the wisdom we talked about before, and that is three things you got to do every day. One is to laugh at something, no matter how trivial. The second is to learn something new, no matter how minor it may be. And the third thing is to thank God for the first two, and that is really how life should be.
How about you, Doc?
The pursuit of sex keeps me pretty active. Not that I get much of it, but the pursuit of it.
Okay, all right. Well, good luck then.
That keeps me young,
wish you good luck.
Mentally also.
Oh, could
and the physical part is just a godsend.
Yeah.
And an extra.
And, there are a lot of people, I think for me, it would be good to reach out more to other human beings. Not necessarily in a business sense, but people that I like, people that can share life experiences. So you get out of your isolation. I don't have a family, it's just me and Ellie, the cat. So, and I tend to stay with my work.
But it has to be physical. It's an
I'm getting there. I'll make it very quick. And I should move. I should shake my booties, but I'm not. I have a membership I'm not using. So it's easy to get in the rut. And everything else that I do, I just, 1, 2, 3, I'm right on top of everything. And that's just an area where I feel very weak. That's it, folks. That's it. So they're all nodding their heads. So it's yeah. Oh my God!
I'm shaking my head.
She really no. I'm a human being. I tell it the way it is. But once you get right back on track, which will it's a mental preparation. Once the mental preparation is done.
Well, how does Warren do it? Let's ask Warren. How does he do it?
How do you do this? Do you never you always stick to everything? Or do you weaken too?
99%, Marietta, and you've got my book. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it or not, but there's 7 steps mentally and spiritually that a person has to take in order to create a lifestyle change that lasts a lifetime. And I went through these steps way back. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I had mentors, to your point, as far as other people, professional athletes, professional speakers, entertainers, and they took me under their wing and shared with me success principles that made them renowned, many of them, on a world level. And those steps can be consciously taken by any and everybody that understands what they are. And me realizing and understanding those, that's what I do every day. Now, let me say this, Marietta. I'm a human being, okay? I mean, I've got a heart, I've got blood, and, muscles, and a mind, and moods, and everything else. Sometimes I don't sleep well. Sometimes I have problems. Sometimes I have anxiety, like any and everybody else. But I realize in everyone, and I was listening very intently to all of our wonderful guests this evening that you have, everyone said pretty much identically the same thing. Move physically, move mentally, move spiritually every day. And the thing that is not moving is dead, or soon will be.
Oh boy.
And that is, my philosophy for life. I know that even if I don't, it's just one of those things and one of those days, and you go, it's been a 15-hour day, I just want to fall in bed. I know if I will do nothing more than 15 minutes of physical activity and exertion, it will help me mentally, it will help me physically, it will help me spiritually, and it will help me sleep better, which is probably what I need more than anything at that particular moment in time. And I know that if I will do 1 minute, and this is what I tell myself sometimes when I'm in that mood, okay, you don't have to do it. Just start. Do 1 minute. If you still feel like not doing it, forget it. I started doing this 40-something years ago. I don't think I've ever missed a workout after I started it.
Yeah, even though if you had different things happening, adversity in your life, you never turned your back, obviously, to what you love and so forth. This is just, it has to be learned. It has to be learned. There are times when you need your hand held, and everybody's weak. Everybody. We can't be on the same wavelength all the time, year in, year out. It's impossible.
No.
Right?
No.
That's true.
So it's I think the first thing that would get me tomorrow on the track, being with people that are very health conscious. That's number one. That would get me on the track very well, very quickly. So, but when you give yourself too much of a long leash, that's what it is. So I'll work on it. I'll have another discussion with you. I'll work on it. Anyway, Warren Honeycutt, we're talking to. How the health are you? That's the name of your book. And I also like to mention Patricia's books again. Success, Your Dream and You, and also Pathfinding, 7 Principles for Positive Living. So, we have about 2 minutes left. Warren and Patricia, if you wouldn't mind giving us your statements to finish up the program. What you would like our listeners to know?
Patricia, please go ahead.
Sure. Well, for me, it's kind of what I said in the beginning. I think you have to have a clear vision of what you want. And then once you have that vision, then you work backwards, and then you start plotting it out and planning it out, but you have to know what it is. You have to know what those intrinsic qualities are of that vision, whether it's peace or comfort or creativity or any of those words that really give you sort of the internal qualities you want. Make sure your vision has those in them. And then start working backwards with a plan. And then you must have the discipline and the desire to follow that plan.
And you know what just came to mind? I'm probably not the only one out there, because it's something you want to pick, something that's not competitive, that has nothing to do with business, and that has to be learned when you're constantly in that wheel of business and competitiveness and everything. You want to pick something, just what Patricia said, something that maybe that's close to your heart, that feels right. But again, the clear vision, and that's something I will work on, Patricia. I really will. How about you, Warren? We have 1 more minute left.
Okay. I would simply ditto what Patricia said and give an example of someone that lived it and continues to live it.
Yeah.
And I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger and he was talking about his history and his life. And he said, when I came to America, when I set my foot on American soil, I couldn't speak English, but in my mind and heart, or as Patricia said, vision, he said, I already was a very successful movie star.
Wow.
I'd never done an audition. I'd never read a script. I'd never even seen one. But in my mind, my heart, my soul, the faith was such that it was already done. And wherever I went, I was a movie star.
I'll be back.
People say,
Thank you. It would have sounded much nicer if you had the Austrian accent. WarrenHoneycutt.com. Thank you so much, Warren, for being with us tonight.
See you, Warren.
PatriciaRaskin.com.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for your time and for your great input. Judge Alberg from Stratford, Dr. Lee Forrest, and Doc Rich.
Thank you.
Our producer, Rich. Thank you so much. And yes,
Aretha.
we will work on the clear vision. I will promise, and I will report next time we're on. Thank you and good night, and have a great week.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.